There is a number on your door right now. You may have chosen it. Maybe the building gave it to you. Maybe it was already there when you moved in, and you never stopped to think about it for even 1 second. You see it every day, every time you leave, every time you come back, morning, night, week after week, year after year, and maybe it never crossed your mind that this small, ordinary, forgettable number could be tied to the way your life feels right now. Your parnassa feels stuck, so you blame the economy. Your health feels weaker, so you blame age or stress. Your house feels heavy, your marriage feels tense, your children feel unsettled, and you keep telling yourself it is just life, just pressure, just bad timing. But what if the reason has been sitting right at your entrance this whole time? What if nobody ever told you to look at your door? What if nobody told you that the number fixed to the entrance of your home, the first thing seen at the threshold, carries energy, real energy, energy that can welcome blessing in, or quietly push it away before it even enters? Stay with me, because this matters more than most people realize. This is one of those small things people ignore until they suddenly understand it was never small at all. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand what the entrance means in Jewish thought, you may never look at your doorway the same way again. I want to speak to you very honestly about something our tradition has known for a very long time, and something much of the modern Jewish world has almost forgotten. Not because it stopped being true, not because our sages were unclear, but because somewhere along the way, many people decided that the practical, protective wisdom of earlier generations sounded too old, too mystical, too uncomfortable for modern ears, and we have paid a price for that forgetfulness. I have sat with families for many years, every kind of family you can imagine, Ashkenazi families, Sephardi families, very observant families, traditional families, young couples starting life, older people looking back and wondering where the years went, families with money, families under pressure, and one feeling shows up again and again, the feeling of being blocked, so close to blessing, but never fully receiving it. Doing the right things, trying hard, praying hard, giving tzedakah, learning, showing up, holding on, and still feeling like the door to peace, abundance, and calm remains shut. They say, I am trying, I am davening, I am doing what I know how to do. So why does life still feel closed? Why does blessing come close but not stay? For years I gave the usual answers, and those answers still matter. Faith matters, prayer matters, mitzvot matter, but slowly I began to feel that something was missing from the conversation. Something simple, something physical, something standing there the whole time, right at the entrance. The answer came little by little, through learning, through older sources, through careful conversations with wiser people who still remembered how earlier generations looked at a home. And the answer was this: we stopped paying attention to the entrance. In Torah thought, in Halacha, in Kabbalah, in the teachings of many great sages, the entrance of a home is not just a door, it is not just wood, metal, paint, and a number. It is a spiritual gateway. It is the meeting point between the outside world and the inner life of the home. Outside there is noise, pressure, confusion, tumah, distraction. Inside there should be kedusha, safety, blessing, and shalom. That is exactly why the mezuzah is placed there, not as decoration, not as a cultural symbol, not as a nice Jewish detail. It is there because the entrance is spiritually sensitive. It is there because the threshold matters. The mezuzah tells the spiritual world something very clear. This home belongs to Hashem. This family stands under divine care. This doorway is not empty space. It is protected space. And once you understand that, another truth becomes impossible to ignore. Everything present at that entrance either strengthens that message or weakens it. Everything around the doorway matters. The state of the area matters. The intention you bring there matters. And yes, the number matters too. That may sound surprising at first, but do not leave yet, because this is where the deeper layer begins. In Judaism, numbers have never been neutral. They carry meaning, they carry pattern, they carry spiritual weight. Gematria is not a party trick. It is not just a clever game with letters. It is an ancient and respected way of seeing hidden dimensions inside Torah and inside reality. Great commentators used it. Kabbalistic writings are full of it. Our tradition has long understood that Hebrew letters are not random signs invented by people. In the deeper view, They are channels of creation itself. Hashem created through speech, through letters, through ordered spiritual form. Each Hebrew letter has a numerical value, and because of that, each number can reflect a spiritual quality, linked to the letters it corresponds to. So when a number is fixed at the entrance of your home, it is not only functioning as an address label, it is also setting a tone, quietly, constantly, day and night. Every guest sees it, every passerby sees it, and from a spiritual perspective, the entrance sees it too. That does not mean every number brings danger, and it does not mean people should become frightened or obsessive. But it does mean the number is not meaningless. It means the threshold has a language. It means the doorway speaks, whether we listen or not. And sometimes that message helps the flow of blessing. Sometimes it creates friction. The point is not panic. The point is awareness. When we become aware, we can make changes, small changes, thoughtful changes, powerful changes, and sometimes those changes begin exactly where no one thought to look before. I once saw this become very real in a family close to me, a good family, serious people who davened, learned, tried, gave, and lived with sincerity. They moved into a new apartment years ago. On paper it looked perfect, good area, fair cost, beautiful space. It seemed like a fresh beginning, but not long after moving in, things began to tighten. A business arrangement broke down, then health trouble entered the home. Then one of the children began struggling in painful ways. They came for guidance, and we went through everything people usually check: prayer, stress, finances, relationships, habits, spiritual life. And then, almost by accident, we paused at the entrance. The number on the door was 17. Now some people hear 17 and think of Tov, because the letters can point in that direction. And that is true on one level. But deeper traditions often ask a more specific question. How does a number behave at the threshold of a home? What kind of energy does it create when placed right where life enters and exits every day? In that context, some sources connect certain doorway combinations with din, with heaviness, with restriction, with a narrowing of flow. Not absolute darkness, not a curse, but pressure, tightness, resistance, channels not fully open. They made one careful change, small, quiet, intentional. A Hebrew letter was added near the number in a respectful way, changing the spiritual tone at the entrance. I cannot prove cause like a math equation, but I can tell you what followed. Within months, things softened. The business stabilized, health improved, the atmosphere of the home changed. The place felt lighter, like the house could breathe again. Now let us come to the point clearly. The number most often discussed as difficult at the entrance of a home is 4, and also numbers that reduce to 4 when their digits are added together, 13, and so on. Why 4? Because in Hebrew the number 4 is linked to the letter Dalet, and Dalet carries two connected meanings that matter very much here. On one side, Dalet means door, so it naturally belongs to threshold language, but on another side, it connects to the word dal, which suggests poverty, lack, depletion, not enough. The deeper teachings explain that when Dalet energy stands strongly at the entrance of a home, it can create a condition of lack at the very place where blessing is supposed to come in. Think about that image for a second. The blessing is sent, but the vessel at the entrance does not hold it well. It is like water being poured into a container that leaks at the bottom. Things arrive, but they do not stay. Money comes in, then disappears. Health improves, then slips. Peace returns, then breaks again. Progress happens, then stalls for no clear reason. You keep getting close but not settled. Close but not anchored. Close but not flowing. If that pattern sounds familiar, do not ignore that feeling. And no, this is not about fear. It is about noticing a pattern, and asking whether the threshold of the home is supporting blessing, or quietly draining it. Sometimes the issue is not only what happens inside the house. Sometimes the issue begins at the point of entry. There is another detail many people mention when this number comes up. In Chinese culture, the number 4 is also seen as very inauspicious because it sounds like the word for death. Now, to be very clear, we do not build Torah belief from outside systems. We do not follow foreign superstition. We follow Torah. But when different old civilizations notice something uneasy around the same number, that convergence is at least worth noticing. It suggests that human beings in different places may have sensed a similar pattern, even if they explained it in different ways. Our framework remains Torah, Halacha, and Kabbalah. That is our language and our source. But sometimes it is striking when unrelated traditions point toward the same discomfort around the same symbol. Still, the real issue for us is not what another culture says. The real issue is what we do with the entrance of a Jewish home. If your number is 4, or reduces to 4, what should you do? First, examine it honestly. Add the digits until you reach one number. Do not dramatize it, just check it. Second, if it reduces to 4, there is a simple and powerful adjustment many traditional Jews have used. Add a Hebrew letter near the entrance in a visible, thoughtful way. This is not bizarre. It is not theatrical. It can be done quietly, beautifully, and with dignity. And the letter most often recommended for this purpose is He. That one small letter can shift the tone of the doorway in a very meaningful direction. Why He? Because He has the numerical value of 5, and 5 changes the field. More than that, He is one of the letters of the divine name. It carries the feeling of breath, life, openness, and presence. It is linked with expansion instead of depletion, with living flow instead of spiritual dryness. So when He is placed intentionally at the entrance of a home marked by 4 energy, the doorway is no longer speaking only the language of Dalet. It is no longer holding only the pattern of lack. It begins to speak a new language, a language of divine presence, a language of invitation, a language that says this threshold is not empty and not cracked. It is watched, it is filled, it is aligned. The way to do this does not have to be dramatic. A small plaque, a tasteful Hebrew letter near the number, a simple visible addition placed with respect and clear intention. The key is not decoration for decoration's sake. The key is kavanah, awareness. You are not hanging an object. You are correcting the spiritual message of the entrance. And if you do this, do it with a quiet prayer in your heart. Let this home be open to blessing. Let this threshold be guarded. Let what enters here be life, peace, and goodness. That matters. Intention matters. Because in Jewish life, physical action and spiritual meaning are never separate. We do not just think holy thoughts and leave the world untouched. We bring holiness into material things. That is how mitzvot work. That is how homes change. That is how doors become more than doors. But do not stop with the number, because the entrance is a whole system, not one detail. Look carefully at the mezuzah. When was it last checked by a qualified sofer? Not guessed about, checked. Many people assume a mezuzah is fine forever once it is put up. That is simply not true. Mezuzot can become invalid, letters can crack, moisture can damage parchment, cases can stay beautiful while the scroll inside is no longer kosher, and an invalid mezuzah is one of the first things many serious teachers tell a family to examine when a home feels blocked, tense, or spiritually heavy. If yours has not been checked in a long time, do not delay it. Then look at the entrance itself. Is it clean? Is it calm? Is it inviting? Or is it crowded, messy, and heavy with things thrown there without thought? Shoes piled up, broken items, dust, bags, clutter. In Torah life, the physical and spiritual mirror each other more than people like to admit. A cluttered threshold often feels like a cluttered channel. A neglected entrance can reflect a neglected boundary. Clean it, open it, make the doorway feel like a place where blessing would want to enter. This is not perfectionism. This is preparation. If the entrance is sacred, then treat it as sacred, not only with holy objects, but with order, respect, and care. Sometimes 1 hour of honest cleaning at the threshold changes the whole emotional feeling of a home more than people expect. There is also a small daily practice that can make a surprising difference. Before leaving the house in the morning, pause at the door for a few seconds. Not long, not complicated. Touch the mezuzah. Look at the entrance with awareness. And say a short prayer in your own simple words. Ask Hashem to send blessing before you into the day. Ask that what belongs to you and your family should come home with peace. Ask that your going out be guarded and your coming in be guarded. 30 seconds. That is all. But done every day, with sincerity, it changes how you stand at your own threshold. It turns the doorway from background scenery into a place of relationship, a place of intention, a place of remembering who protects the home. And if you are ever choosing a new place to live and have flexibility about the address, then yes, be aware of the number from the beginning. Not anxious, aware. If a number feels spiritually better, choose wisely. In traditional thought, certain numbers are often seen as carrying more open and positive energy for a home. 7. Tied to completion, Shabbat, and fullness. 8. Tied to what rises above nature, to covenant, to the movement beyond ordinary limits. 3. Tied to stability, foundation, and the holy structure of Jewish life. None of this guarantees an easy life. That is not the claim. The point is simpler. If the entrance matters, then when you have a choice, choose with open eyes, and underneath every practical action sits something even deeper. Emunah, real faith, not vague optimism, not a nice slogan. Faith that Hashem is involved in the details of life. Faith that the spiritual atmosphere of a home matters because the Creator made a world where physical actions carry spiritual consequences. Faith that He did not leave us blind. He gave us Torah. He gave us mitzvot. He gave us wisdom passed through generations so that we would know how to shape a home that can hold blessing. That is the deepest point here. Hashem is not far from your life. He is not ignoring your tefillot. He is not indifferent to your struggle. He is not standing somewhere distant while you knock on a locked sky. In a manner of speaking, the blessing may already be waiting at the door. The question is whether the channel at the entrance is open, strong, and ready to receive it. This is why Judaism always joins physical action with spiritual truth. We place a mezuzah. We do not only think about protection, we put on tefillin. We do not only meditate on unity. We build holiness with things, with doors, with parchment, with words, with homes, with habits. So when you repair the entrance, you are not acting out superstition. You are doing what Jews have always done at their best, bringing awareness into matter and letting matter carry holiness. Do not miss that. It is one of the great secrets of Jewish life. I have seen people make these changes and then write later saying something shifted. Not fireworks, not fantasy. Something quieter. The home felt lighter. Arguments softened. Sleep improved. Opportunities opened. Money became steadier. There was less chaos around the edges. More calm in the middle. Again, this is not magic language. It is not about controlling heaven with tricks. It is about removing friction where friction was sitting. It is about aligning the threshold of the home with the holiness the home is meant to hold. Earlier generations understood this in a natural way. They did not separate the spiritual from the physical so sharply. They knew a doorway mattered. They knew a mezuzah mattered. They knew the state of the entrance mattered. They knew that the home begins before you enter it. It begins at the threshold. And when that threshold is treated carelessly, something important is left exposed. When it is treated with care, intention, and kedusha, the whole house can change its tone. That is why this conversation matters. Because so many people are searching for answers in huge dramatic places while ignoring the quiet place they cross every single day. Maybe the blocked feeling in your life is not caused only by big hidden mysteries. Maybe one part of it is sitting in plain sight, fixed to the front of your home, waiting for you to notice. Stay with that thought. Sit with it. Because this may be simpler than you think and also more powerful than you expected. So tonight, or the next time you stand by your entrance, do one thing. Go to the door and really look. Look at the number. Add the digits. Notice what is hanging there. Notice the mezuzah. Notice the condition of the area. Ask yourself one honest question. Is this entrance prepared to receive blessing? Is this threshold honoring the kedusha of the home behind it? If the answer is no, then do what needs to be done. Check the mezuzah. Add the hay if the number reduces to 4. Clean the doorway. Remove the clutter. Bring calm to the entrance. Say a prayer there. Stand there with awareness for the first time in a long time. Then step back and watch over the coming weeks. Watch the feeling of the home. Watch the atmosphere. Watch the flow, not with superstition, with attention, with humility, with hope. Because sometimes the door to blessing is not far away. Sometimes it is not hidden in some distant future. Sometimes it is literally your door. And once that threshold is corrected, honored and opened, everything inside has a better place to breathe. May your entrance be filled with light. May your home be guarded with peace. May your parnasa flow with steadiness. May your health strengthen. May your marriage warm. May your children rest in calm. May every blocked door begin to open. And may the blessing waiting outside your life finally find a clear and welcome way in.